The elevator slammed to a violent halt between floors, throwing Isabella Cruz forward as the lights flickered overhead. Her shoulder hit the metal wall, breath knocked from her lungs. For a split second, the emergency lights flashed red, bathing the narrow space in warning. Then the elevator jerked again. And the man beside her didn't even flinch. Kang Jae-min stood perfectly still, one hand braced casually against the wall, dark eyes fixed on the control panel like he had expected this to happen. Isabella's pulse thundered. "Did you know this would happen?" His voice came out calm, almost bored. "Yes." The single word sent ice down her spine. The emergency alarm began blaring. The elevator dropped another inch. Isabella grabbed the railing. "What do you mean yes? We could die in here." Jae-min turned slowly toward her, expression unreadable. "You are not in danger. I made sure of that." "You sabotaged the elevator?" "I secured it." "That is not the same thing." The red light flickered again, illuminating the sharp angles of his face, the controlled tension in his jaw. There was something terrifying about how steady he remained while her world tilted. "Why would you do this?" she demanded. He stepped closer, voice low. "Because someone is trying to reach you." Her stomach dropped. "What?" "Your ex," he said simply. "He arrived in Busan this morning." The words hit harder than the elevator's sudden stop. Air left her lungs. "That's impossible." "I never deal in impossibilities." Silence pressed in around them, heavy and suffocating. Isabella felt her hands begin to shake. The past she had buried, the fear she had outrun across an ocean, suddenly stood breathing behind her again. And this man had trapped her in a box to tell her. The elevator lights stabilized. The alarm stopped. The doors slid open onto a restricted executive floor. Jae-min stepped out first and turned back toward her. "You're under my protection now," he said. "Not a promise. A declaration. And if that opening made your heart race, pause for a second, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments what you would do if a stranger claimed control over your safety like that." Because Isabella was about to find out exactly what that meant. She followed him out, legs unsteady, mind spinning. Nova Life Medical Holdings was supposed to be her fresh start. New city, new job, new life, no fear. Yet somehow, within weeks of arriving, the most powerful man in the building was claiming ownership over her safety like she was a classified asset. "I don't need protection," she said, keeping pace with him through the silent hallway. Jae-min didn't slow. "You needed it 6 months ago." She stopped walking. "What did you just say?" He continued forward. Cold dread crawled up her spine as she hurried after him. "6 months ago I was still in Chicago. You couldn't possibly. I monitor all threats connected to my company. I wasn't part of your company. You were a potential liability." The words landed like a slap. Isabella grabbed his arm, forcing him to stop. "I'm not a liability. I am a nurse." For the first time, something flickered in his eyes. Not anger, not apology, something deeper. "You are a survivor," he said quietly. Her grip loosened. "How do you know that?" she whispered. He didn't answer. Instead, he led her into a private office overlooking the sprawling city skyline. The door sealed behind them with a soft mechanical click that sounded far too permanent. A screen on the wall illuminated. Files appeared. Her name, her medical history, police reports, restraining orders, surveillance photos. Her throat tightened. "You've been watching me. For your safety. You followed me across countries. I prevented 3 attempted attacks." Her knees nearly gave out. "That's not protection," she said hoarsely. "That's control." Jae-min's voice dropped. "Control keeps people alive." She backed away, heart racing. "You don't get to decide my life. I already did the moment he threatened you." The room seemed to shrink around her. "Why me?" she asked. "Out of every person in this world, why risk all of this for me?" Silence stretched. Then he spoke with unsettling honesty. "Because I know what it means to live under someone else's power." The confession caught her off guard. Before she could respond, the office door burst open. A tall woman in an elegant suit entered, fury blazing in her eyes. Jae-min, the board is demanding an explanation. Her gaze shifted to Isabella with open hostility. So this is the woman. The temperature in the room dropped. This is not your concern, Era, Jae-min said coldly. It is when you risk the company's reputation, she snapped. The media already knows she's living under your protection. Isabella blinked. What media? Era's smile was razor sharp. You didn't tell her? Jae-min's silence said everything. Era stepped closer. Miss Cruz, congratulations. You are now the center of a corporate scandal. Isabella's stomach twisted. What scandal? The CEO abandoning his arranged engagement for an unstable foreign employee, Era said smoothly. Investors are fascinated. The words struck like physical blows. I never asked for any of this, Isabella whispered. Jae-min's voice cut through the tension. Leave. Era held his gaze, then turned sharply and exited. The silence she left behind was suffocating. Isabella's chest tightened. This is destroying your company. It is irrelevant. How can you say that? Because your safety is not negotiable. Emotion surged, anger, fear, confusion. You don't even know me. I know enough. And what is that? That you ran from a man who still believes you belong to him. Her breath hitched. The accuracy of it felt invasive. I don't belong to anyone, she said. Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. Good. Before she could question the reaction, alarms suddenly erupted throughout the building. Security announcements echoed. Unauthorized entry detected. Unauthorized entry detected. Jae-min moved instantly, pressing a button on his desk. Lock down the building. A voice responded through the intercom. Target identified near the east entrance. Isabella's blood turned cold. Target? Jae-min looked at her. Victor Kane. The world tilted. Her vision blurred as memories flooded back. Fists against walls, threats whispered in darkness, the suffocating certainty she would never escape. He found me, she whispered. Jae-min stepped closer. He will not reach you. You don't know that. I control this building. Fear broke through her restraint. You can't control everything. For the first time, his composure cracked. I can try. The raw intensity in his voice stunned her. Outside, footsteps thundered through corridors. Security teams moved with lethal precision. Isabella's breathing grew shallow. I can't do this again, she said, voice shaking. I can't live in fear. You won't. How can you promise that? His answer came without hesitation. Because I will stand between you and anything that threatens you. The certainty in his tone was overwhelming, protective, possessive, absolute, and terrifying. Minutes later, security confirmed Victor had been detained at the perimeter. Relief should have come. Instead, Isabella felt something far more complicated. Because the danger outside the building was no longer her only fear. She turned to Jae-min. What happens now? His gaze held hers with quiet intensity. Now, he said, you stay where I can protect you. The words sounded less like safety, and more like a cage. But deep inside, where fear and exhaustion lived, part of her wanted to believe him. And that was the most dangerous feeling of all. Isabella didn't sleep that night. The secure residence assigned to her by Nova Life overlooked the restless lights of Busan, but the beauty of the city did nothing to calm the storm inside her chest. Every sound felt amplified. Every shadow felt alive. Someone knocked softly on her door. She froze. A calm voice followed. Miss Cruz, it's Rin. She opened the door to find a tall woman dressed in black, posture rigid, expression unreadable. The CEO requested confirmation of your safety, Rin said. Isabella let out a tired laugh. Of course he did. Rin studied her carefully. You should rest. How do people rest when they're being hunted? Rin didn't answer immediately. They survive first. The bluntness of the reply settled heavily in the room. Did he tell you to say that? Isabella asked. No, Rin said. But he believes it. Isabella leaned against the doorframe. Why is he like this? Rin's eyes sharpened. Because he has buried more people than he was able to protect. The words landed with quiet weight. Before Isabella could ask more, Rin's phone buzzed. She checked the message and straightened. The CO is on his way. Isabella's stomach tightened. At this hour? He does not operate by ordinary time. Minutes later, Jae-min entered the residence without hesitation, as if every door in the world existed solely for his use. He looked exactly as he had earlier, composed, immaculate, controlled, yet something restless moved behind his eyes. "You should not be alone," he said. "I wasn't aware that was your decision. It is when your life is threatened." She crossed her arms. Victor was detained. For now. The two words carried heavy meaning. She met his gaze. "You can't guard me forever." A quiet intensity settled in his expression. "Watch me." The certainty in his voice sent a strange heat through her chest, equal parts comfort and alarm. "You're suffocating me," she said softly. "I am keeping you alive. I want my freedom. You will have it when the threat is eliminated." "And if that takes years?" Silence. That silence frightened her more than any answer. She walked past him toward the window. "You're asking me to surrender my life." "No," he said behind her. "I am offering you security." She turned sharply. "At the cost of choice." His jaw tightened. "Choice is meaningless if you are dead." The argument hung between them, raw and unresolved. Before she could respond, his phone rang. He answered immediately, voice turning cold. "Yes." The pause. His expression hardened. "Bring him to the underground level." Isabella's stomach dropped. "Bring who?" He ended the call slowly. "Victor is requesting to see you." Her world stopped. "No," she whispered instantly. "No, I don't want to see him." Jae-min studied her trembling hands. "You will not face him alone." "I don't want to face him at all." "He will continue until confronted." Fear twisted inside her. "You don't understand what he's like." "I understand obsession." The quiet darkness in his voice made her breath catch. Minutes later, they descended into a secure underground facility beneath the medical complex. The air felt colder there, heavier, filled with controlled danger. Through reinforced glass, Isabella saw Victor Kane. Even restrained, he radiated the same violent intensity she remembered, eyes burning with possession, lips curling into a slow smile when he saw her. "Bella," he mouthed. Her knees nearly collapsed. Jae-min's hand closed firmly around her wrist, steadying her. "You are safe," he murmured. Victor stepped closer to the barrier, voice muffled through the intercom. "You ran very far, Isabella." Her heart pounded violently. "I escaped." "You belong with me." Rage cut through her fear. "I belong to no one." Victor laughed softly. "Then why is he holding you like property?" The words sliced through the air. She tried to pull her hand from Jae-min's grip, but his hold only tightened, protective, not controlling, yet the image was undeniable. Victor's smile widened. Jae-min stepped forward, voice like ice. "You will never speak to her again." Victor's eyes shifted to him. "And who are you?" "The man who will end your pursuit." A dangerous tension filled the room. Victor leaned closer to the glass. "You think power frightens me? I know what she's like when she's afraid. I know how she breaks." Something inside Jae-min snapped. His voice dropped to a lethal whisper. "You will never touch her again." Security removed Victor moments later, but the damage was done. Isabella's breathing turned erratic, vision spinning. I can't breathe." Her panic surged violently. Jae-min guided her away from the room, voice softer now. "Look at me." She shook uncontrollably. "Isabella." His hands steadied her shoulders. "Focus on my voice." "I can't." "Yes, you can. Stay with me." He spoke slowly, grounding her, guiding her breathing until the suffocating pressure in her chest began to ease. When her vision finally cleared, she realized how close they stood, his hands still on her, his gaze intensely focused on her recovery. "You came back for me," she whispered weakly. "I never left." The words carried no hesitation. Something shifted inside her, a dangerous trust. If you're feeling the tension between them right now, make sure you like this video and drop a comment telling me whether you trust Jae-min or not, because Isabella herself wasn't sure anymore. Days passed, but peace never followed. News outlets began reporting leaked information about Isabella's past. Headlines questioned her stability. Speculation about her relationship with the CEO flooded social media. She confronted Jae-min in his office. "You said you were protecting me," she said, throwing a tablet onto his desk displaying the headlines. "Then explain this." His expression darkened. The information was stolen. My medical history? My therapy records? I will find who released them. Her voice trembled with anger. My life is becoming public entertainment. Temporary. You don't understand what public shame feels like. His eyes flashed. Do not assume that. The intensity in his voice stunned her. Before she could reply, the office doors opened without warning. Yoon Era entered, elegant and composed, her gaze sharp with calculated victory. "The board meeting has been moved forward," she said smoothly. "Your presence is required." Her eyes shifted to Isabella. "You should attend as well." Isabella stiffened. "Why would I?" "So everyone may hear the truth directly." Jaemin's voice hardened. "She will not be used as a spectacle." Era smiled faintly. "The decision is not yours alone." The boardroom was already filled when they entered. Powerful executives, silent observers, cameras discreetly positioned along the walls. Isabella felt exposed, vulnerable under dozens of judging eyes. Era began calmly. "Nova Life's stability is threatened by the CEO's personal involvement with an employee whose psychological condition poses reputational risk." Isabella's stomach dropped. Era continued mercilessly. "Panic disorder. History of emotional instability. Documented trauma responses." The words echoed like accusations. Humiliation burned through Isabella's chest. Jae-min rose slowly. "This discussion ends now." Era met his gaze fearlessly. "Or the investors withdraw." Silence fell. Every eye turned to him, then to her. Isabella felt something inside her break, not from weakness, but from exhaustion. She stood. "My condition does not make me dangerous," she said, voice trembling but clear. "It means I survived." The room remained silent. "I rebuilt my life," she continued. "I worked harder than most of you ever will. My past is not your weapon." Jae-min watched her with something like fierce pride. But the battle had only begun. Outside the building, reporters gathered. Inside, power was shifting. And neither of them yet understood how far their enemies were willing to go. The moment Isabella stepped out of the boardroom, the noise hit her like a wave. Voices. Cameras. Questions fired from every direction. "Miss Cruz, is it true you're mentally unstable? Are you in a relationship with CEO Kang? Did Nova Life cover up your condition?" Security pushed the crowd back, but the damage was immediate. Every flash of light felt like an attack, every accusation like a blade reopening wounds she had spent years healing. Her breathing quickened. Jaemin's hand appeared at the small of her back, guiding her forward with quiet firmness. "Keep walking," he murmured. "I can't do this," she whispered. "You already are." They entered the car waiting outside. The doors sealed, shutting out the chaos, but the echo of humiliation lingered. Isabella stared straight ahead, eyes glassy. "This is my nightmare." Jae-min watched her carefully. "It will pass." "You don't know that." "I will make it pass." She turned sharply. "You can't control public opinion." His expression didn't change. "No. But I can control those who created this." A chill ran through her. "You mean your father?" she said quietly. Silence confirmed it. Later that evening, Isabella wandered alone through the secured residence, unable to calm the restless storm inside her. The world she had built through therapy, discipline, and relentless effort now felt fragile again. She heard footsteps behind her. "I warned you this would happen." She turned to see Yoon Era standing near the entrance, elegant and perfectly composed. "How did you get in here?" Isabella demanded. Era's smile was faint. "This residence belongs to the company." Isabella's hands trembled. What do you want? To help you. The words sounded poisonous. Era stepped closer. Leave Busan. Resign quietly. The scandal ends. The board stabilizes. Everyone wins. And Jae-min? He returns to his obligations. Understanding settled heavily in Isabella's chest. You mean you? Era's gaze hardened slightly. He has responsibilities far beyond personal emotion. And exposing my medical history is part of those responsibilities? It was necessary leverage. The cruelty of her calmness ignited something fierce inside Isabella. I won't disappear to make your life easier. Era studied her for a long moment. Then prepare for what comes next. What does that mean? Era's voice lowered. The chairman intends to remove his son from power. Fear flickered through Isabella. He can't do that. He built the company. He controls the board. And you? Era paused, eyes cold. You are the weakness he will exploit. The door opened behind them. Jae-min entered, his presence immediately shifting the air. You will leave, he said to Era. She met his gaze steadily. You are choosing chaos. I am choosing integrity. Integrity destroys empires. Then let them fall. The quiet intensity of his words left no room for argument. Era studied him one last time before departing. Silence followed. Isabella looked at him. Your father is going to destroy you because of me. His answer came instantly. You are not the cause. You are the catalyst. That doesn't make it better. He stepped closer. I have spent years preparing for this conflict. Her voice softened. And now I'm part of your war. His eyes held hers. You are not a weapon. You are the reason. The confession left her breathless. Days later, the situation escalated further. Leaked footage appeared online, edited clips portraying Isabella's panic episode in the underground facility. The video spread rapidly, accompanied by cruel commentary questioning her competence as a medical professional. She watched the footage in stunned silence. That was a private medical event, she whispered. Jae-min's expression darkened with controlled fury. Someone inside the company released it. Tears burned her eyes. They're destroying me. He moved closer. They underestimate your strength. I don't feel strong. You stood in that boardroom and faced them. I was terrified. And you spoke anyway. Emotion tightened her chest. I don't want to be brave anymore. His voice softened unexpectedly. You do not have to fight alone. Their proximity carried an undeniable tension, a fragile moment where protection and affection blurred. She looked up at him. Why do you care so much? The question lingered heavily between them. Finally, he answered. Because I see myself in your struggle. She searched his face. You control everything. His gaze darkened. Control is learned when chaos destroys everything you love. For the first time, she saw not the powerful CEO, but a man shaped by loss. And something inside her shifted again. That night, an emergency meeting was called. The chairman himself arrived. The atmosphere inside the boardroom felt suffocating as Chairman Kang entered, an older man whose presence radiated quiet authority and ruthless calculation. He addressed his son without warmth. You endanger the company. Jae-min remained composed. I correct its corruption. The chairman's gaze shifted to Isabella. You are the source of this disorder. She held his stare despite the fear crawling through her. I am not the problem, she said quietly. He smiled thinly. All systems remove unstable elements. The threat was unmistakable. Jae-min stepped forward. You will not touch her. The chairman's voice turned cold. You would sacrifice everything for a stranger? I would sacrifice everything for truth. A tense silence followed. Then the chairman spoke words that changed everything. Then you are no longer CEO. Shock rippled through the room. The board had voted. Power shifted instantly. Isabella felt the ground fall beneath her. After the meeting, she found Jae-min alone in his office, standing before the city lights. You lost everything, she whispered. He did not turn. I lost a title. You built this company. I built its future. His calm acceptance unsettled her. "This is my fault," she said. He faced her then, voice firm. "Do not claim responsibility for my choices." Emotion surged. "I never wanted this." "Nor did I," he admitted quietly. "But some battles define who we are." She stepped closer. "What happens now?" He held her gaze. "Now we expose the truth." The determination in his voice was absolute. The next morning, news broke that Victor Kane had escaped custody during transfer. Fear spread through the city. Isabella felt the familiar terror closing in again. "He's coming for me," she whispered. Jae-min's response was immediate. "Then he will find me first." Security protocols intensified. Movement became restricted. Every entrance guarded. The pressure became unbearable. One evening, overwhelmed by confinement, Isabella walked onto the rooftop alone. The open air felt like the only space where she could breathe. She didn't hear the footsteps behind her until a voice spoke. "You always loved high places." Her blood turned to ice. Victor stood at the edge of the rooftop, eyes burning with obsession. She froze. "How did you get here?" He smiled. "You can't hide from someone who knows you." Terror paralyzed her. Before Victor could move closer, another figure appeared from the shadows. Jae-min. His voice was lethal. "Step away from her." Victor laughed softly. "You think you can protect her forever? I only need to stop you once." The tension between them crackled like a storm. Security rushed onto the rooftop moments later, capturing Victor after a violent struggle. But the message was clear. No place was safe. Later, shaken but alive, Isabella sat across from Jae-min in silence. "He will never stop," she said. "Then neither will I." The certainty in his voice ignited something powerful inside her, not dependence, but defiance. She straightened slowly. "I'm done hiding," she said. His gaze sharpened. "What are you saying?" "I want to speak publicly." "You will be attacked." "I already am." He studied her carefully. "I will stand with you," he said. "And if you're still watching the story unfold, make sure you subscribe and tell me in the comments, would you face the world or keep hiding? Because Isabella was about to make a choice that would change everything. The press conference was scheduled for noon. By morning, the entire city seemed to be watching. Isabella stood backstage, staring at the live broadcast monitor showing hundreds of reporters packed inside Novolife's Grand Hall. The noise of their anticipation vibrated through the walls like a living thing. Her hands trembled. "I can still walk away," she whispered. Jae-min stood beside her, calm but alert. "Yes." The simple answer surprised her. She looked at him. "You won't stop me?" "I protect your safety," he said quietly. "Not your voice." Emotion tightened her throat. "What if I break out there?" His gaze softened. "Then I will stand beside you while you rebuild." The words steadied something inside her. A staff member signaled that it was time. The doors opened. The lights were blinding. Questions erupted instantly as Isabella and Jae-min stepped onto the stage together. Cameras flashed. Microphones stretched forward like weapons. She felt the old fear rising, the crushing pressure, the tightening chest, the instinct to run. Jae-min's voice reached her quietly. "Breathe." She inhaled slowly. Then she stepped forward. "My name is Isabella Cruz," she began, her voice trembling but audible. "And everything you have heard about me is only part of the truth." The room fell gradually silent. "I live with panic disorder," she continued. "I survived an abusive relationship that nearly destroyed my life. And I am not ashamed of that." A murmur moved through the crowd. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears, but she kept speaking. "Fear is not weakness. Trauma is not failure. And recovery is not something to hide." She paused, gathering strength. "You want to know why I accepted protection from Novalife? Because someone tried to take my life. Because I chose survival." The tension in the room shifted. One reporter shouted, "Are you romantically involved with So Kang?" Heat rose in her cheeks. She glanced at Jae-min, then faced the crowd again. "What exists between us is trust," she said carefully. "Trust built through crisis and truth." Another voice called out, Do you deny being unstable? She met the question directly. I deny the idea that surviving trauma makes someone dangerous. The honesty in her words resonated through the hall. Then Jae-min stepped forward. Novalife Medical Holdings has concealed corruption for years, he announced calmly. Shock rippled across the room. He continued, voice steady and relentless. Financial records, illegal surveillance operations, and attempted coercion led by the current chairman. Gasps echoed. A massive screen behind them illuminated with evidence, documents, transactions, internal communications. The truth unfolded in undeniable detail. The chairman's empire began collapsing in real time. Security forces moved through the building, executing warrants issued minutes earlier. Outside, sirens filled the air. Inside, chaos erupted. Through the noise, Jae-min turned to Isabella, his voice low enough that only she could hear. It is finished. But consequences came swiftly. Novalife's stock plummeted. Investors withdrew. Media outlets split between praise and condemnation. Some called them heroes. Others called them reckless destroyers of a global institution. The following days were relentless. Protests gathered outside the headquarters. Public opinion shifted hourly. And yet, within the storm, something unexpected began to grow. Support. Messages flooded in from survivors around the world thanking Isabella for speaking openly about mental health. Medical professionals defended her competence. Patients shared stories of healing. One evening, she sat quietly in Jae-min's office reading the messages. They're listening, she whispered. He watched her gently. Truth has power. She looked up. You gave up everything. I removed corruption, he corrected. But your position, your authority. Authority without integrity is worthless. The conviction in his voice stirred something deep inside her. She stood slowly and walked toward him. Why didn't you choose the easier path? She asked. He studied her carefully before answering. Because the moment I met you, I recognized a decision I once failed to make. Her breath caught. What decision? To protect what matters, regardless of cost. The admission hung heavy between them. Emotion surged unexpectedly through her chest. You risked your entire world for me. For truth, he said quietly. But his gaze said more. Weeks passed. Investigations continued. The chairman was formally charged with multiple crimes. Corporate restructuring began under independent leadership. Jae-min no longer held the title of CEO. For the first time in years, he lived without the weight of absolute power. One night, Isabella found him standing alone on the rooftop overlooking the vast city lights. You look different, she said softly. He glanced at her. How? Lighter. A faint smile touched his lips. Power is heavy. They stood in comfortable silence, the wind moving gently around them. I stayed in Busan because of you, she admitted. His gaze sharpened. You should stay because you choose this life. I do choose it, she said. But you are part of that choice. Something vulnerable flickered across his usually controlled expression. Isabella, he said quietly, everything I have done may still cost us peace. She stepped closer. Peace was never guaranteed. Their proximity carried a quiet intensity. Are you afraid? He asked. Yes, she admitted. And yet you remain. She met his gaze steadily. So do you. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then distant shouting echoed from below. Security alerts sounded again. Jae-min's expression hardened instantly. Stay here. But she grabbed his arm. No more hiding. They descended together to find chaos at the building entrance, a desperate attempt by Victor Kane to break through security lines during a prisoner transfer. His face was wild with fury when he saw Isabella. You chose him over me, he shouted. Fear surged through her, but she stepped forward anyway. I chose myself, she said clearly. Victor's rage exploded. He lunged against restraints before security subdued him completely. As he was taken away, the past finally loosened its grip. Later that night, exhaustion and relief washed over her simultaneously. She sat beside Jae-min in the quiet aftermath. It's over, she whispered. Yes. She turned to him. What happens to us now? He held her gaze with rare openness. That depends on what you desire. The answer surprised her. No control? She asked softly. No control, he said. Only choice. Months passed. The storm settled gradually. Nova Life rebuilt under ethical leadership. Isabella returned fully to medical work, stronger and more confident than ever. Jae-min focused on humanitarian medical initiatives, using his influence without corporate chains. Their relationship grew not from crisis, but from quiet understanding. 6 months later, in a private ceremony overlooking the ocean, they chose each other without pressure, without obligation, without fear. Not possession. Partnership. And if you've stayed with this story until now, you already know what comes next. But the final chapter reveals the true meaning of everything they fought for. The ocean wind carried a quiet promise that morning as Isabella adjusted the delicate veil over her hair. She glanced at Jae-min standing across the small, private terrace. His posture was relaxed, yet the intensity in his dark eyes made her heart flutter. Gone were the burdens of corporate war, the constant shadow of danger, the endless judgment from the world. Today it was just them. You look beautiful, he said softly, his voice low enough that only she could hear. Her cheeks warmed. You're not so bad yourself, she replied with a teasing smile, though her hands trembled slightly from nerves. A gentle pause stretched between them, a rare moment of stillness after months of chaos. The world felt suspended, holding its breath for them. Jae-min stepped closer, taking her hands in his. Isabella, I promise to protect you. But more than that, I promise to stand with you. Today, I want to honor that promise in every way I can. Her eyes glistened. I never thought I'd get here, she whispered. After everything, I wasn't sure I could trust anyone again. You trusted yourself, he said. And in doing so, you've earned every ounce of happiness waiting for you. The officiant cleared their throat, and the ceremony began. It was small, intimate, free of pomp or distraction. The waves crashed softly in the distance, their sound grounding the moment in reality, in life, in choice. When it was time to exchange vows, Isabella's voice shook at first but grew stronger with every word. I promise to live fully, to face fear when it comes, and to never let the past define me. I choose love, honesty, and courage, and I choose you. Jae-min's gaze never left hers as he spoke. I promise to stand beside you in every challenge, to honor your strength, and to protect the life we build together, not as owner, but as partner. I choose you. They sealed their vows with a gentle, lingering kiss, the weight of past threats, betrayals, and fear dissolving in that one moment. A new chapter had begun. Later, in the quiet of their private reception, Isabella leaned into him. It feels surreal, she admitted. Like we fought through an entire war just to find this peace. Jae-min pressed his forehead gently to hers. It wasn't easy, but every struggle brought us here. Every fear, every confrontation, it shaped us. And we survived, she said, a quiet smile forming. Yes, he whispered. And we'll keep surviving, together. Days turned into weeks, and the chaos that had once defined their lives became a distant memory. Nova Life operated transparently, with reforms Isabella and Jae-min championed personally. Her voice became a platform for mental health advocacy, reaching survivors worldwide, inspiring confidence and resilience. Jae-min's influence, once wielded for corporate control, was redirected toward protection, philanthropy, and ethical growth. Despite the calm, their bond never dulled. Each day brought quiet moments, laughter over shared coffee, the comfort of evening walks through Busan's glowing streets, gentle touches that reminded them of the battles they had endured together. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Isabella rested her head on his shoulder. Do you ever think about how different our lives would have been if we hadn't crossed paths? Jae-min chuckled softly. Honestly, I don't want to. Every terrifying moment, every challenge, led me to you. Her smile deepened. I suppose even fear has a purpose. Yes, he agreed. And sometimes, survival leads to love. She looked up at him, a spark of mischief in her eyes. You know, People are still going to watch our story and wonder about every decision we made. Let them, he said, drawing her closer. The only opinions that matter are ours. The sun disappeared entirely, leaving only a twilight glow over the city. They stood together, unshakable, survivors, partners, unafraid of the future because they had chosen it for themselves. And for everyone watching the story unfold, remember, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's facing it. Love isn't possession. It's choosing each other every single day. If this story gripped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling us which moment made your heart race the most. Your support keeps these cinematic stories alive, and who knows? There's always another tale waiting to be told. As night settled over Busan, Isabella and Jae-min disappeared into the quiet streets together, leaving behind the chaos of the past and stepping fully into the life they had fought for, fearless, unbroken, and unapologetically in love.